Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I'm Ash, and this is now the second video I'm making in my Tasmanian series. If you haven't seen the first video, it's actually 36 hours in Hobart, and I highly recommend. We definitely didn't do things that, well, we did do things that are known in the tourist world, but it's full of adventure, it's full of exploring, and we saw so much snow in it. So if you want to check that out, I'll link it up above for you guys to check out. But anyway, welcome back to the second video. Today we're actually traveling to Port Arthur, which is about 90 minutes out of Hobart to the west, to the east. It's actually on the peninsula there, and we've got a full day of exploring both historical sites and some nature. Come along for the ride. Let's get going. So we're actually on the shores of Dunalley Bay, just out of Dunalley, right next to the old Dunalley fish market. We are about halfway to our first stop on the Port Arthur Peninsula, and that is the Tessellated Pavement. It's quite chilly out here, but it really is pretty. I'm trying to embrace the concept of you don't just need to drive there. Stop if you see something cool and just take in your surroundings. So that's the mantra of this video. Explore, don't have a particular plan, have a list, but see what we can find. Behind me is the Dunalley Bay. It connects to the ocean all the way out there through all of the harbours. Yeah, first stop, Dunalley. Just appreciating the view. Look at all the shells. Yeah. All the pippies. Okay, we've officially arrived at our first stop of today, and that is the Tessellated Pavement on the way to Port Arthur. It's on the east coast of the peninsula. From the car park it says it's a 10-minute return walk, so we're just toddling up the path, see how we go. The formation of the Tessellated Pavement all started about 250 million years ago, when this entire region was actually a marine basin. When icebergs and sheet wash washed all of the mud and silt into the marine basin, these slowly started to accumulate, and as sea life died, these were buried within this sedimentary layer. Now, over the next few 100 million years, these started to build up and build up and build up until additional material was then washed over the top, slowly compacting it down into the basis of what we see as silt and mudstone. So between 160 million years and 60 million years ago, this entire region underwent a lot of stress and joint cracks to form the different cracks that we see here today. So the three resulting cracks from these Earth's surface faults were seen as north-northeast, east-northeast, and north-northwest. This joining was exaggerated from both salt accumulation and from erosion. There are two main formations within the Tessellated Pavement. The first is the loafing and the second is the pans. Now the pans you can see right here, these are where the majority of the pavement is depressed and the joints are actually raised. The second is actually the loaves, and they literally look like little bread loaves. So as high and low tide come and go from this area, the areas that you see loaves in are more likely to have water run off of them because they're not accumulating in any depression. And because there's no accumulation of water during high tide, when low tide occurs, there's not actually a layer of salt left on them, hence they don't erode as easily. However, the faults that separate them do. These are the depressions, so that's where the salt accumulates and slowly erodes through the turning of the tides and when evaporation occurs. Now that same process actually forms the pans, but in the reverse. Because the pans see a depression in most of the pavement, that's where the salt accumulates. And during low tide, when the water evaporates, the salt stays, expands, and further erodes that pavement. But it doesn't erode the faults, which stay raised. So if you want an even simpler explanation, if it's high, it's not going to have salt accumulate on it during low tide, and if it's low, it's going to have salt accumulated in low tide. And if there's salt, there's erosion. It's a pretty easy way to think about it, and that's why you don't just have the lobes further away from the ocean, you also have them quite close to the seashore. It's just all dictated with how high it is to begin with. You see how they all continue, no matter where it goes from this loaf area into the pan area, it all continues. It's all the same fault. It's just because this area is more raised than this, that's why the salt accumulates in these pan areas and the salt accumulates in these fault areas. So naturally the faults become smaller in between the lobes and the faults are more prominent within the pans. So these are the lobes. So that's where the cracking happened between 160 and 60 million years ago. And if you keep an eye out, there are actually fossils in these because these are all marine depositional sediments originally. So imagine this as a huge marine basin, and 260 odd million years ago, all sediments used to come into this basin. Now these slowly started to compact as more layers came down onto it, until these were all marine sediments with obviously dead animals falling to the bottom of the ocean and settling in the mud. Over time, additional sediments came over the top and further compacted these into siltstone. And when a bit of uplift happened, we get what we see today. But in order to form these cracks, during the tectonic movement of the plates, different directions of cracking started to form by the movement of the plates together. And that's where you get these joints, and they all run in the same direction in 3 different directions. So one goes that way, one goes that way, and one goes that way. And here are the pans. So you see how the water sits in it? So in these ones, because this is all salt water, this erodes the pan further, so the joints become the prominent features. Whereas the lobes, the joints are lower, so naturally the seawater sits in here, so it erodes the joints faster. That's why they're raised. I just wanted to quickly say that always stop at the information little billboards at a place. That's where I get a lot of my information from, because it's written by people of the area with a lot of research. And if you want to better understand an area, take 5 minutes, stop at those information signs and learn about the place you're in. It can be really cool, and having that better understanding can really make you appreciate the place a lot more. So we've actually just pulled up at Pirate Bay, where the little penguin project is going on. And this fence that you see behind me is actually to keep out all domesticated animals, because on either side of this road there are penguin colonies that come up and nest on the beach, and there was a real issue with them being hit by traffic and eaten by domesticated animals. So they installed this fence. I didn't actually know about this until we came down here, so I think we might actually stay till dusk and see if we can see any penguins, because that is typically when they come up on the beach. So stay tuned. We might actually see some penguins tonight. See how we go. We're smiling so much, like, but it's like we want to see the penguins. So we've just arrived at Blowhole, which is just outside of Dewtown in Tasman National Park. Let's see what it has. So we've just arrived at Tasmans Arch, which is basically when the cave roof collapsed and it formed a big bowl. And now you can see into the big bowl. It's really, really cool. So it would have eroded away through sand and salt and water and abrasion and slowly just collapses. So that's pretty cool. Apparently it happened 6,000 years ago. So this all used to be a cave, and this used to be rock on top. And then slowly, as these weak points in the rock eroded away by salt and sand and wind and water, it eventually collapsed, falling down there and creating the arch we see today. Tasman's Arch. And we're now at Devil's Kitchen.
Wow.
Whoa.
Holy shit, that is...
The camera does not do this. That's so far down.
I can't even see the bottom, hey?
No. So the ocean and the salt basically erodes the cliffs and forms little caves at the bases of them. These slowly erode, as well as rainfall from the top, and then collapse happens. And it's usually along the joints because that's usually where the weak point is. So that's actually the sea cave, and you see how the sea cave is in line with some of the joints, so that's where some of the erosion happens. Next on our Port Arthur Peninsula adventure, we're at the Port Arthur Lavender Farm, and we're hoping to see some really pretty lavender. Personally, it is my favourite flower. How about yours?
Yeah, no, it's stunning, hey?
It actually is my favourite flower. Lavender is just the smell, the look, just everything. It's beautiful. And Jade actually recommended to try lavender ice cream.
Yeah, it is.
So I think we're going to try some lavender ice cream because I'm pretty sure these guys sell it. So let's see. So unfortunately it's not lavender season at the moment. They've actually covered up all of the lavender plants, I presume to cover them from frost. I am still keen to try some lavender ice cream, but a bit disappointing, but what can you do? That's what nature is. We've got our lavender ice creams. I've got lavender and white chocolate. What do you have?
I got lavender and coconut.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
The taste of lavender. That's so good.
Right, yeah. It's something else.
Oh, that's so good. And I'm not an ice cream person.
It's like the smell of lavender, but it's like
the taste of it.
But it's not like overpowering. It's like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good, right? Yeah.
And cheers to lavender ice cream.
Cheers.
Accidentally touches the camera screen.
Yeah.
So we're now at Point Puer, P-U-E-R, and apparently it's the first prison built exclusively for male convicts, like for boys. It operated between 1834 and 1849, so... There's something at the back there. So stop, I've lost count on our trip. We've actually just arrived at Penguin Rocks, which is near Remarkable Cave and a few other geologic formations here along the coast. remarkable cave was not really remarkable, but it's kind of cool. So now we're going to go to Main Gone Blowhole, which is now a return from the car park here. So it should be easy. Let's get going. These are actually the same Banksias, like same type of plant that I showed in my Cathedral Rock hike. So they're found all over Australia, just different varieties of them. Ends up being a bit of general photos, like I'm always saw the photos one. I think this is it. Oh my god, that is like, I reckon 100 meters deep at minimum.
Yep.
That's wild!
Wow.
That just appears out of nowhere.
Random crack in the...
It's literally, imagine if you were running. So tonight we are having a taste of the Tasmanian Sprayton Hard Ginger Beer. 3.5%. Well, cheers. Cheers to some Tasmanian cider. What are you drinking?
So I've got the Sprayton apple and raspberry cider.
Okay, well, yeah. Cheers to Sprayton.
Cheers.
Cheers to Tasmania.
Cheers.
Cheers to another successful day adventuring. Always try the local produce. You never know what you're going to find. If you guys enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button, as it really supports my channel, as well as commenting down below any Tasmanian recommendations you guys have. I hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to follow along and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!